Shalom. This relates to Israel and Iran. Breaking news we have here. 1 hour ago, Iran launches a mass drone and missile attack on Israel. BBC News. 1 hour ago, breaking news. We'll show you some missiles relating. This is a Crux report. Different missiles. As Tehran vows to avenge the deadly strike attributed to Israel on its consulate in Damascus. Here are the breakdown of Iran-made missiles. I'm going to read a few of them. Capable of reaching Israel. The Shahab 3. This relates to that. Speed Mach 7, range 2,000 kms. Qatar 1950 kms, Mach 9. These are missiles. The Kahaba Shakan 1450 kms, over 5,000 kmh over speed. Then the Paviv 1650 kms, 6 to 900 kms hour. Fatah 2, the Hajim Qasim, Mach 5 on the Fatah 2, 1400 kms, 1400 kms, 870 miles, Mach 5. Sajahel 2, 2500, Mach 12, 14 speed. Ahmad 2000, Mach 7.2. Karam Shah 4, Kabahar 2000 kms, Mach 16 outside atmosphere, Mach 8 inside atmosphere. These are some of the missiles relating to that going to strike, relating to Iran-made missiles that's going to strike. You know, I mean, you have a drone strike over there, hitting areas. Various reports all over. I'm going to go into it. Let me see. This is CBN. I'm going to go into another one here. This is Fox. Iran launches drone attacks. So we're in World War III, man. There's no doubt. We're in World War III. You have a report here relating to Israel military spokesman says Iranian, pretty much deadly drones that are en route to Israel, man. You have protesters relating to, I believe it's in Israel, protesting, a mob of protester relating to that as well. We'll stick with the Iran and Israel, because that's a major thing. That's prophecy, man. Ezekiel 38, man. Iran launches a drone towards Israel, retaliatory attack. Iran launches drone attacks at Israel. Israel braces. Iran launches waves of retaliatory attacks. Israel says Iran launched drones towards that, and it will take hours to arrive. Retaliatory attacks on Israel has begun. Iran launches dozens of drones. Israel historic strike live, so they strike it, man. Them drones are already hitting as we speak. Israel says Iran launched drones at its territory, retaliatory strike. These are various reports. Israel-Hamas war day 190. Iran launches missiles, drones. Israel braces for impact. Biden say he's in He's coming back early relating to, as one of the men in truth said, because he's evaluating, keeping an eye on relating to this the Israel-Iran situation, man. And he said during the speech, we will support Israel. You know what I mean? And he said in a report that pretty much warned Iran, said no, U.S. we're going to support related to Israel. So U.S. is going to support either way to Israel anyway. You know what I mean? So that was a report. That was the first post or one of the reports sent to me. So they're going to support. You know what I mean? And that's going to bring in, the least of them is going to draw the out, as that scripture says, to bring others involved in this, man, such as for example, U.S. man. Iran launches drone attacks on Israel. U.S. and Israeli official says, man. White House says U.S. supports for Israel's ironclad will support their defense amid Iran attack. The Middle East, which is actually West Asia, you know, on the precipice of a wider war known once, which means a broader and full-scale war, man. Ezekiel 38 is being precursively played, man. Let me see. Sirens across Israel, IDF, which is the Israeli Defense Force. Public should enter shelters. Iran has fire and missiles intercepting progress. So you know Israel going to strike back. So Iran's going to strike for what? You know what I mean? Scripture talks about the Lord relating to Proverbs 21. I'm going to get some scriptures in a minute. Israeli strikes on Iran consulate in Syria. KILLED generals and 5 others. How will Iran respond to Israel's attack on Damascus? You already know how they're going to respond. Relating to the drones and missiles attacks. That's what they responded, man. That's how Iran's going to respond related to Israel, man. Israel Gaza live update. Iran seizes Israeli link ships in Strait of Hormuz. You got Iran says Israel's BOMBS sensitivity for YouTube is an embassy in Syria with KIL commanders, man. Middle East latest, Iran launches drones at Israel. They will arrive within hours. You know what I mean? So, like I said, they probably already there striking anyway. You know, senior U.S. general to visit Israel to coordinate on Iran attack threat. And Iran accuses Israel of relating to the generals in Syria, Damascus, Syria strike. That was in Damascus. That's why they retaliate. So they say. Biden vows ironclad U.S. commitment, and that's what I was talking about relating to what he was saying. He's going to support, 100% relating to Israel, man. So he's going to back Israel, man. The U.S. is going to back Israel. So ironclad commitment to Israel to admit fears of Iran attack. Israel and U.S. believe Iran is about to retaliate for Israeli bombing of Syria's consulate, which is in Damascus, man. Let me say. This is about 21 minutes ago. Iran launches drones towards Israel in the severe, dangerous escalation. IDF spokesman Daniel Hagari said in the English video announcement of Hagari, and the IDF is closely monitoring related to that. Biden is meeting with the Iraq Prime Minister on Monday. Biden is expected to meet with the Iraq Prime Minister Mohab Shaheen al-Sudani on Monday on Washington, and face discussions have been in the president's schedule for weeks. 25 minutes ago, Chuck Schumer, the U.S. stand with Israel, like I said. So they stand with Israel related to that. Benjamin Netanyahu, convening war cabinet, man. Here's a report here relating to this. Biden's arrived at the White House and was headed to the Oval Office. This is 5:04 p.m. It's a couple hours ago. And is to meet with the principals of the National Guard Council discussing the situation related to Iran and Israel. Again, Iran launches a retaliatory attacks on Israel Saturday that risks sparking a regional conflict that could draw U.S. Military forces. The attack marked in the first that Iran has launched as directed. So Israel has 10 of the aircrafts and Israel airspace. Let me just go through these. So the drone strikes. So we in World War III. We are in World War III, and also the precursors of Ezekiel 38. Iran and Israel, key players, man. Some of the key players, man. These are various reports. Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu says defenses are ready as Iran attacks. So Iran has missiles. Israel, it's all out war, man. World War III is not something, it's not a joke no more, man. It's actually, you're seeing it. Scripture talks about, let's get it, related to Matthew's 24. Before I get to that, let me get that. Go to Obadiah. Let me see something. Let me look for something. There we go. Jeremiah 49:20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that ye have taken against Edom and his purpose purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Teman is your smart man. Scientists, your physicists. You know, they part of that descendants related to Genesis 36, the descendants of Edom, man. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. So the least of them is going to draw them out, man. Let's see. Therefore ye, the counsel of the Lord, that have taken against Babylon in his purposes, that he had proposed against the land of the Chaldeans, which is here, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them, man. So the least is the ones over in a certain place, man. And that's what you're seeing. They're going to draw them really into... they're going to draw them into this thing, U.S., man, into this war, man. U.S. is going to support Israel, man. So you're going to see relating to, so they're going to support them, man. They're drawing U.S. in. U.S. forces are going to end up in this, man. Let's go to Matthew 24 real quick. Shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, be not troubled, be marvel, be not dismayed, marvel not. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There shall be pestilence and famine. There shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in different places, which are various places. All these are the beginnings of what? Sorrows, man. And that's what you're seeing, man. You know, you're hearing the wars, man. You actually, more than hearing the wars, you're seeing it, man. You're seeing these nations rise up against one another, man. These nations against nation, kingdom against kingdom, man. See what other reports. Let's see.
From Iranian territory. That marks the first time that has happened. It is significant.
I'm going to show a little bit of this.
They are now en route to Israel. As we just heard from our colleagues at BBC News, some of those drones are believed to have been shot down at this point. CBS News has learned that the UK scrambled jets from Cyprus to also participate in the defense of Israel. A statement from Downing Street is expected shortly. We are hearing that Jordan is also participating in Israel's defense, but we are waiting to independently confirm that. Joining us now from Jerusalem is CBS News contributor Robert Berger once again. Robert, an official has told CBS News that anything passing over Jordanian territory will be intercepted. The UK official confirms that those British jets have been scrambled from Cyprus. So what does all this mean in terms of a response from the Middle East?
Well, it seems that Israel really isn't the States forces have also intercepted some of these drones. I can't confirm that, but that's what's going around. So you have also Israeli defenses, and now the British appear to be involved. You have American defenses. The Jordanians don't want drones flying over their airspace. The Egyptians have just expressed concern. So there's a lot of defense going up around Israel and within Israel, but still, you know, this is a real game changer, because it's the first time Iran has actually fired from its own territory. And this is really a massive attack, more than 100 drones. And there were even reports that I'm just saying on Israeli media that Iran has fired ballistic missiles. And Israel, again, reports from Israeli media.
Yes, that are at this point unconfirmed, but CBS News diligently working to confirm all that. Obviously, with breaking news, we're trying to sort out fact from fiction. Robert, we also see a statement from France's foreign minister saying, quote, France reaffirms its attachment to Israel's security and assures of its solidarity. So as you point out rightly, the rest of the world seems like it is mobilizing to try and mitigate the impact of these drones on their way now to Israel. And UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak put out a statement that condemned the Iranian regime, saying that the UK will stand up for Israel's security. Talk to us just a bit about how important the UK's alliance to Israel is in terms of this greater conflict.
You know, what's interesting is that, you know, these countries, the UK, the United States, and others have really been pressuring Israel on the Gaza war and the Palestinian issue. But now when it comes to Iran, which is really seen as a regional threat and that everyone can agree on, at least in the West, this is very important to have the allies, if you will, the United States, UK, France, now lining up and backing Israel against Iran.
I want to also underline what you said, Robert, because there has been more criticism of the strategies that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has employed in Gaza, the massive number of civilian casualties over there. But when it comes to an attack on Israel by Iran, we're seeing all of those allies who were perhaps putting pressure on Israel to change course now coming to Israel's defense. So what are the next steps for Israel?
I don't see how Israel would retaliate inside Iran for this attack. I mean, again, this is a big attack. This is a major attack. More than 100 drones, perhaps missiles as well. I think Israel will wait and see how many of these get through the defenses, how many drones, if any land in Israel, if people are killed. That could also help determine the response. But even if, let's say, not a single drone gets through, I don't see how Israel can sit by and allow this attack to happen without retaliating inside Iran. And then the question is how severe that retaliation inside Iran would be.
And Robert, as we're discussing the necessity of all of these leaders to retaliate after an assault on their sovereign territory, it's worth reminding our audience that this is in response to what they believe to be attacks by Israel on the Iranian consulate space in Syria. Some of those accounts are disputed, I will mention, and Israel, for their part, has not taken responsibility for it. But if, in fact, Israel had attacked these Iranian military leaders in Damascus, they must have known that Iran would respond or feel compelled to respond. But does this seem like a miscalculation by the IDF then?
Well, some analysts would say that. Some people think that maybe Israel crossed a red line. But, you know, the Israelis have for a long time have been targeting various Iranian assets. They've targeted nuclear facilities with sabotage. They've targeted drone facilities with sabotage. They've been hitting Iranian targets inside Iran. It seems like this attack, this alleged attack on the Iranian consulate in Damascus, was maybe the straw that broke the camel's back. And now, perhaps, if you want to call it a miscalculation, a lot of people here also think now that Iran has miscalculated. The feeling was that Iran would probably strike back through its proxies like Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen. By the way, there are also reports that the Houthis are firing in this direction as well. But yeah, miscalculation on both sides can now even escalate this further.
And as the U.S. and other allies, and even non-allies of Israel, are working to try and de-escalate this conflict, talk to us, Robert, about how the U.S. is likely to respond.
Well, I believe we're hearing that the U.S. forces are actually involved in intercepting some of these drones that are coming in. So already it appears, I can't confirm this, but it appears that the U.S. is involved in stopping this attack, as well as the UK. And, but you know, the U.S. obviously doesn't want this to really escalate further into a major regional war, so perhaps it will try to restrain Israel's response. I think that's going to be hard to do. But I imagine that America's plan would be to try and contain this to relatively to a tit for tat and try and leave it at a certain point and not escalate this into a long regional war.
All right, Robert Berger, thank you. Now I want to head back over to CBS News contributor, former chief of operations of the CIA's counterterrorism mission center,
Or that was relating to U.S. and its allies, how they vowed to support Israel after relating to these defense attacks relating to the drones launched by Israel, by Iran. It's a continuation. I was a contributor now. This is CIA counterterrorism missions. That was the first interview relating to Robert Berger, CNN contributor, CBS contributor now. This is the CIA counterterrorism, Counter-T mission center break. Andrew Boyd. This is the second half of this.
Counterterrorism Mission Center, Andrew Boyd. So Andrew, let's start off, given your experience with the CIA, talk to us about how the CIA and Mossad will work together in the wake of these attacks.
So again, we have a close, me and my former employer have a close relationship, intelligence sharing, and whatnot. So CIA and Mossad will be deeply involved in this. But right at this very moment, this is a military operation, and the collaboration is between the IDF and the Department of Defense, principally Central Command and its subordinate commands under General Eric Kurilla. But throughout the war on terror and both, terrorist attacks directed against the United States and its forces, or terrorist attacks directed against Israel and its forces, there's been deep collaboration between CIA and Mossad.
And Andrew, Iranian state television is reporting that in addition to these drones, that there were also ballistic missiles that were launched. How does that potentially change how Israel and others are viewing this attack?
So again, I don't think people are saying that there's ballistic missile attacks. Again, if there was a ballistic missile launch when this reporting started, I think there would have been impacts in Israel by now. So we have to just wait and see on that. But the reality is that ballistic missiles are much more targetable than drones. Again, drones, you can target them, but their accuracy is not quite as substantial. And the warhead on a drone is going to be significantly smaller than most ballistic missiles. Rockets have a smaller warhead as well, but if there are ballistic missiles launched from Iranian soil towards Israel, that would be a significant escalation beyond just 100 drones being launched. But again, I think time will tell whether that is a misunderstanding of what happened or just a propaganda statement from the Iranian government.
I wondered about that because the reports are coming from the state-run media in Iran. Neither our source in the United States or CBS News has been able to independently confirm that. What we do know are that these drones, I believe that they are the slow-moving Shahad 136 bomb-carrying drones, are on their way, and several of them we believe have already been shot down. Andrew, I'm wondering how the United States strategy with Iran may shift. Obviously, we don't have diplomatic relationships. It is a tenuous relationship at best, but how might those relationships change as a result of this attack?
So I don't think our strategic intent on our Iranian relationship will change. I mean, we have goals that are consistent for the security of the United States when it comes to an adversary like Iran. Our tactics may change, and our diplomatic approaches to both Israel and its neighbors, the Jordanians, and our own partners, such as the British, may change because, again, if in fact these weapons do impact Israel and are not all shot down, which we hope that the drones, and if there's any ballistic missiles, that they're all shot down. But if they're not, and they impact Israel and they kill Israeli civilians or Israeli military members, we all have to remember this will be the very first Iranian attack on Israeli territory that hasn't gone through a proxy, name your proxy, Hezbollah, Hamas, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and then the various groups in Iraq, the Shia groups in Iraq. That would be a game changer, and I don't know if the Netanyahu government, that they would have to do something in retaliation to the Iranians. So our strategic end state in the United States government trying to prevent an escalation, and I think discussions about the drones being shot down by U.S. forces, by Jordanian forces, is part of the tactical plan to try to prevent an escalation beyond what is absolutely necessary.
And I want to ask you about what I heard from a former Israeli official on BBC. He said that this is the dawn of a new day in the Middle East, that things have changed significantly, and this is by far, given, as we were discussing, the significance of these attacks originating in Iran rather than one of these proxy groups, one of the biggest escalations in the Middle East that we've seen in decades. I'm wondering, given that Israel is already fighting Hamas in Gaza, it has problems in the West Bank and Hezbollah, can it actually engage on a third front in an actual hot war with Iran?
Well, again, let's the comments from the former Israeli government officials, let's hope it's not the dawn of a completely new day,
Absolutely.
just the dawn of another day, because whether or not Israel can fight a three-front war, Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Iranians is one point, but can the United States avoid being dragged into such a regional conflict? So again, we being the United States and the Biden administration absolutely does not want a new day to dawn, and wants to with the forces we have in the region, helping the Israelis and with our partners in the region, such as the Jordanians, try to prevent that escalation. But again, if these weapons do impact in Israel and they do kill Israeli civilians and or Israeli military members, we will then take another tactic and try to negotiate with our Israeli friends to ensure that they don't escalate beyond what is absolutely necessary. Again, the Netanyahu government has a lot of bruises since October 7th, and trying to erase the memory, so to speak, of that horrific incident where 1,200 Israelis were murdered by Hamas and then several hundred more were kidnapped. I mean, one of the ways in the history of military conflict and political problems is to start another conflict, and again, in this case, would be with Hezbollah with Iran, to erase those issues that the Netanyahu government has since October 7th. We would really, that would be a huge mistake, I believe, for the Netanyahu government to utilize this Iranian attack, especially if it is a very limited impact, to then use that as an excuse to broaden their war to Hezbollah or to actually Iranian territory. Because I really think the consequences of that, no one can predict.
Absolutely. And even as we discussed the worst cases that are potentially in the future, we all are hoping for the best cases. I also want to note that we now have confirmed from our sources that President Biden's meeting in the Situation Room has now begun with his advisors. Andrew, what are some of the conversations that are going to be taking place there?
So President Biden's national security team will be talking about various scenarios that could unfold over the next couple hours, the next 12 hours, the next 24 hours, and what various options they would endorse, both for our commander in the field, in this case, General Kirill, the commander of Central Command, but also what the diplomatic dialogue will be with the Israelis and all of the partners in the region. As has been discussed, there's been unanimity amongst our allies, the French, the United Kingdom, the Jordanians, of opposing this attack. Even we've heard that there have been jets launched from Cyprus, British jets, to help intercept the drones. So there's going to be a mass of diplomatic engagement at our embassies in the region, but the guidance as to what we do from a diplomatic messaging perspective and what the United States does from a military perspective will all come out of that meeting with the president and his team are currently engaged in.
All right, Andrew Boyd, thank you.
That was a CBS News report.
We will have continuing coverage on.
That was a CBS report relating to Lana Zonk with guest Robert Berger and Andrew Boyd relating to interview relating to the Iran-Israel situation. Sherlock's a little bit long video, but you know. Get some scriptures real quick. Let's go to Revelations 9 and 12. Before I go there, let's go to 2nd Ezra 16. Get it from a GNT. Get it from a GNT one. Young women will be mourning because there is no one to marry them. Wives will be mourning because they have lost their husbands. Daughters will be mourning because there is no help, no one to help them, man. So relating to this relates to war, man. You know what I mean? This relates to war. You know, 34. All young men will be killed in war, man. And all married men will die in the famine, man. You know, wives are not going to have helpers. You know what I mean? Their significant other will be either by the sword of famine or by the sword of the war, man. You know what I mean? Let's go to Isaiah 3 and 25. Isaiah 3 and 25. And war has been a thing forever, but now you're actually seeing it, man. This is World War III, man. This goes to Ezekiel 30. I'm going to get Joel 3 too as well. You know what I mean? So you're actually seeing it, man. This is not fantasy or fairy or science fiction, man. This is actual reality, man. 325, 25 and 26. And the men of the city, yes, even the strongest men will be killed in war. Scripture says, even the weak shall fight, man. The city gate will mourn and cry, and the city itself will be like a woman sitting on the ground stripped naked because of the state and condition that's going to be, man, and what's going to happen, man. Let's get Revelations, man. I'm going to get it from a GNT, which is Good News Translation. Let's see. The first horror, which goes to woe, and after this there are 2 more horrors to come. And that goes to 2 more wars thereafter, man. A little 11 and 14. Switch it to 11 and 14, man. Woe means for destruction, man. That's what that's talking about. 11 and 14. Go to Joel 3 real quick. 11 and 14. The second horror is over, but the third will come soon. That's World War III. Read that again. The second horror is over, but the third horror will come soon. And that's WW3. The third horror, the third woe will come soon. Now I'm going to go to Joel 3 and 9. I'm going to go to GNT. This says the Bible, man. You know what I mean? The Bible speaks on these things, man. Make the announcement. That means proclaim it among the nations, which are the Gentiles, man. Prepare war. Call your warriors, which are your soldiers. Gather all your soldiers and march, preparing for war, man. Hammer the points of your plows into swords, and your pruning knives into spears. Agricultural paraphernalia turn into formidable weaponry, man. Even the weak must fight. So all gonna fight relating to war. Go to this conscription, which is the nice fancy word for draft, man, the draft, man. And the scripture I was reading, 2nd Ezra 16, 33 and 34, and Isaiah 3 and 25, talking about men shall die in war, man. Even the strongest men will die in war, man. Even the weak must fight. And that goes to really relate to when that draft is instituted. All going to be required, man. Hurry and come. Even the ones who really are not fit for it, they're going to have to fight. Hurry and come, all you surrounding nations, and gather in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, for he has judged, man. Amaganwa, the mountain or valley of truth, man. You know what I mean? Some mountain represents sometimes our powers in government, man. Send down, O Lord, your army to attack them. The nation must get ready and come to the valley of judgment, Yahweh Shaphat. There I, the Lord, will sit to judge the surrounding nations. Ezekiel, Revelations, 2nd Ezra 11, 2nd Ezra 13. You know, I mean, these nations together. Go to Revelations 12, 7. You know what I mean? Armies versus the armies of the Lord. The Armada, which would in this case would be a fleet relating to the dragon's fleet of Armada versus the spiritual fleet of the Armada of Yahweh Bashim Yashah. These nations, these armies will gather against to fight ultimately Yahweh Bashim Yashah. In Ezekiel 38, relating to certain nation, relating to the bear, and he'll have a band of nations being a guard to the bear, which will be Russia, and the other nations will be guard respectfully to that particular nations. You know what I mean? And all these nations will turn again to fight against the Lord, relating to 2nd Ezra 11, 2nd Ezra 13, Revelations 12 and 7. You know what I mean? Let me go ahead. The nations must get ready and come into the valley of judgment. There I, the Lord, will sit and judge all the surrounding nations. They are very wicked. Cut them down like grain at the harvest time. Crush them as grapes are crushed. And this fool in the wine press, and that wine, that wine, which is the wine, represents that blood being, and the grapes being crushed, being squeezed. So that wine being squeezed out of that grape represents them, that blood being squeezed out of them, man. Until the wine runs over, man. Thousands are in the valley of judgment. It is there that the day of the Lord will come soon. The sun and moon grow dark, and the stars no longer shine. earth will move to and fro relating to these different signs and fears and different things, signs and warnings that will happen, man. So you're seeing these are precursors relating to some of the participants relating to Israel, Iran, relating to Ezekiel 38, man. So this is some reports. So we're in a time of war, man. The second horror is over, and the third horror will come soon, man. GNT 11:14 of Revelations, man. The third horror will come soon. That's World War III, WW3. Now, all being said, I hope this helps relating to information and different things. And we give all praise, Yahweh Shem Yashah Bashim Akakadas. This is Zayah Wolf. Hope it helps. Shalom.